Financial Services, Dan Machnik. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good to see you.
How are you? It's good to see you, too.
Yeah, I've seen you, I think, like 6 times in the last 8 days.
I'm sure we're going to see each other again. You know, we've got a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks, don't we?
It's event season, party season.
It is. Football is now, high school football is over. We saw each other a lot during that. And then
we saw each other because your daughter's a cheerleader for the state championship team.
Phil and Pat were so excited because they're down in Florida. And they're watching the game on TV, and the cheerleaders were on TV, and Liv was on TV.
That was so cool seeing.
I had to text her during the game.
Seeing her down on the field, so cool.
Yeah,
very
that.
cool.
Yeah.
So end of the year, it seems like the noise has quieted down a little bit. How is? I don't know. I'm not listening to it as much. How is the market? How's the state of things as we approach the end of the year?
Well, right now, year to date, the S&P 500 is up over 25%.
Incredible.
So what a fantastic year it's been. Hopefully we're all well diversified and we kind of drummed out the noise. I don't know what was happening. I don't know if there's anything big happening in the United States this year, but that's behind us now.
Yeah.
So hopefully people have digested that news.
Yeah, let me ask you this, and this is kind of off topic. We talk about a lot of people with a lot of money that have invested in political campaigns. And a lot of folks are probably going to be looking to put that money somewhere else. And rumor is that the NIL in college football is going to get a lot of that money.
Well, it probably will, because what other campaigns are you going to go for now?
Now you wouldn't suggest that people invest in the NIL.
Well, it depends on what your goals are. I mean, I think Ohio State's roster cost them about $30 million. So take that for what it is in terms of an investment idea. But I don't think that's necessarily to make money. But what I do know is a lot of political contributions. I mean, let's face it, most of the S&P 500 companies are going to donate to both sides of the aisle because they're not stupid. They know one person's going to win, and they're not sure who.
So, maybe something else we should be planning at the end of the year. How about families? What should they be doing? Should we be looking at purchases coming up? Obviously, Christmas can get out of hand for a lot of people, right?
It does get out of hand. It gets out of hand for almost everybody.
Yeah.
What did they say was spent Black Friday? Something like $44 billion just online.
And we know that those folks don't have $44 billion to spend.
There's these credit cards. A lot of people are really fond of them. What I'm suggesting is everybody should get together with their financial professional, their wealth management expert, do some planning for next year. Especially if you're a little bit older and you're in the distribution phase of life, it's important to understand what your cash flow needs are going to be. And let's face it, the market, the volatility and the turmoil can impact the amount you can take out next year. So be careful, right? I don't know that we're going to get a 27% increase next year.
You guys have been expanding kind of year after year, and you're even into Buckeye territory now.
We are now. I'm not going to turn into a Buckeye
You better
fan.
not.
Like I said, that's it's throwing bad money after bad money. So I'm not going to do that. No, we have a fantastic partnership with Dempsey and Dempsey PC in Adrian, Michigan, and those guys have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Great guys, CPAs as well as investment advisors, and they've been a great pleasure to work with.
Yeah.
Recently, we were introduced to an advisor down in Southern Ohio who's retiring, and it just made a ton of sense that we jumped in and helped him out, purchased his book of business, and he's still got some windshield time, but the off-ramp is coming.
Very good.
Yeah.
We just showed a picture from 2009 from a state championship game, and my mind's flashing back to when you and Pat were on Spring Arbor Road when you first moved back from Chicago. Take me from that point to kind of where you are now, your third building, and then the expansion. I mean, it has to be kind of a dream of you and Pat for this to go how it's gone.
Yeah, I think it's exceeded our expectations for sure. But we shared one room in Phil Willis's, I think it's Rick Walton's now, in the office building on 2545. And we went from that to purchasing our initial headquarters on South Jackson Street, which is a really great building.
Beautiful.
We still own it, by the way. It's still for sale.
Yeah, and there's really nice bathrooms in there if anyone wants to rent it. It's very nice.
So it's a great building, and it has been for years. While we were in that location, we expanded into Kalamazoo. We then purchased our headquarters now on West Michigan, which is a gorgeous building.
Yeah.
We pumped some money into it, but it's been a great investment. And of course, we expanded into Adrian and now into Ohio.
That's awesome.
So
Very good.
We had to hire another guy. We hired a new investment advisor. So he's now with us. His name is Nick Castor.
Nice.
Lives in the Ann Arbor area. right? So
Very good.
we're hoping to expand a little bit over there as well. But he's also an enrolled agent. So now we have in-house tax return provision.
That's awesome. And you guys are an extension of really a family's financial planning or a business's financial. You guys consider yourself part of the family or part of the business?
Yeah, we try to make ourselves a really important resource for every client that, every relationship and every client that we have, whether it's now we're able to do some tax work for our clients, which was candidly, it's a big gap in provision, right? No one wants to do individual tax returns anymore. So we identified that as a need.
Yeah.
So NEC fills that gap
great.
wonderfully.
I was talking to a father who has a recent graduate from Albion College, and we were talking about the loans and stuff like that. So my question is it ever too late to start saving for your child? Obviously, you want to start as early as possible, but is it too late to get started?
No, it's never too late. Obviously, time and discipline are your number 1 and 2 assets, right? The more time you have, the easier it's going to be, because you're not going to have to pump as much away, right? But there's never a wrong time. It's just the cost to wait. That's what you have to. You kind of have to think that way. But we started saving for Olivia, and I know you've done the same for Ella. And as soon as they get Social Security numbers, makes it a lot easier. So
it's amazing. Talk a little bit about like we talk about. We run into each other everywhere in this town, and kind of being a big part of the community. Just talk to me about your perception of how this community has changed since you first moved back, coming back. Obviously you're born and raised here, went to Chicago, came back. Just talk to me about the perception and how things have changed. Yeah,
broad shoulders, right? I mean, Jackson's been through a lot as a community. A lot of different administrations, a lot of different leadership, a lot of different city council, a lot of different county changes. But I'll tell you, one thing is pretty constant, is that this town is filled with incredibly caring people, wonderful business owners, great nonprofit entities, good school systems. I think foundationally and at the core of this community, those things will always have that sort of keystone. And when I moved back, you almost felt like an outsider, even though I was born and raised here. But I was so blessed in that Pat and Phil were able to introduce me to a lot of great people, and the community just embraces you. If you do things the right way, if you treat people the way you're supposed to treat them, then this community is just fantastic. And we've experienced it. We've been incredibly blessed. So now we're doing our best to give back, just like you guys do.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. Well, it's always fun to see, especially around the holidays, Dan. I'm looking forward to some more holiday cheer as Christmas comes near.
That was good. Did you hear what he did there? I love that. I appreciate you guys.
Of course.
Always do.
Absolutely. Dan Machnik from Willis and Machnik Financial Services. More of the show right after this.